Doom v Vamos v Vamos Epicureans. This is the Marvel Epic Collection Podcast one-shot edition. I'm your host, Nick Smith, and I'm joined by...
Stojr from Stojr Shelf. How's it going, Nick?
Doing well, particularly since we are participating in Kurtis Findlay's Epic Marvel Podcast Reading Club. And this one-shot is going to be our thoughts on today's issue, which is Uncanny X Men number 118. This is the Submergence of Japan. And this time we have Rick Villamonte filling in on ink, so Terry Austin's having an issue off. Alright, so the X-Men arrive at Japan to see the port city of Agarashima on fire, and this fire seems to be caused by a sudden earthquake. The team investigates and goes to see Sunfire to offer some help and to try to contact Professor X back home, not knowing, of course, that Professor X has skipped off of the Earth in favor of making an intergalactic love nest with Lilandra. And yes, that was a bird joke. After contacting Sunfire, the perpetrator of the disasters sends the Mandroids to threaten Sunfire and the Premier of Japan, only for the X-Men to wipe them out. Alright, Stojr, what are your thoughts?
So I think the coloring and the art in this issue is really strong. I think the sort of the brightness of the colors while everything being dark at the same time really evokes that the city's on fire. So it's the reds really stand out, but they're coming out of like this sort of dark, bright red color. I'm not sure if I'm making sense there, but like it's like this weird contrast of like things are bright and dark at the same time, which makes you feel like you're by a fire. We get a little bit more backstory into Wolverine, and he knows how to read Japanese, which is interesting, and also that Nightcrawler's sort of stretching himself and trying to change his power, flex his muscles with his power, so to speak, so he can teleport further and things like that. The return of Sunfire is great because he was there for that original issue of the X-Men, and just as he was there, he's a bit of a dick, and isn't really everybody's favorite guy. But I love that, like, not every character should be fun and lovable that you want. You want some changes there. The sort of instant love here of Mariko and Wolverine. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right,
Yeah.
but that will play forward into the future. So and sort of moving him past Jean. I think he forgets about Jean whenever he's in Japan. Is basically the idea. He's pretty good with that. Japan or what's it, Madripoor. He just needs to be off continent, and he can forget about the redhead. But no, I like this issue. I think it does a lot of good things. I'm not entirely sold on the villain at the end. I think we'll know more about that next issue. I just don't have the background for him. I know he's in my Avengers Epic collections. And Mandroids, like they're okay. I guess.
Not a
But
fan
I don't
of...
have that history of the background. Not the big. I don't know. They're
they're
robots.
dudes and robots.
People in them.
Why not?
Yeah.
It's a clever name. Someone obviously came up with the name first, right? Mandroid, of course.
Well, I mean, what it feels like they were spoofing or having the Marvel version of the name, the Manhunters, which are like the Green Lantern robot things or something like that. I think that's what they're called.
Well, that might be some background knowledge that I don't have. I'm such a Marvel zombie. I know so little about the DC stuff.
Yeah, the Manhunters. I mean, they're a completely different setup here. They're not people in these in suits, but and assuming that they are called Manhunters, they're Man something. I think they're Manhunters. But they were like these robots that would police the universe before the Guardians of Oa created the Green Lanterns Corps, and they did something bad, so they had to kill all the get rid of all the robots, and then they had to put real people with the rings to sort of police the universe, and then they pop up from time to time as villain.
Hmm.
So anyway, they're the other man villain that's somewhat robotic.
Yep. Well, I agree with you on many of this stuff. I liked getting that hint into Wolverine's past that he knows Japanese. That's interesting. I kind of thought that the relationship between him and Mariko, I thought that happened earlier, that was part of his mysterious past. Because he and Mariko are a thing for a while, aren't they? Or kind of an off and on thing or something like that?
I mean, yeah, um in the right around the Wounded Wolf Epic collection. I don't know if it's right before that or after it, but they're supposed to get married and then
Mm,
the wedding gets called off.
okay.
So yeah, I don't know if like there's some backstory where they've met before kind of off camera that we find out about later, but they're definitely sort of a thing for a little while here.
Yeah, this issue sure seems to make it look like no, this is the first time they've ever met, that they hadn't known one another before. So that might just been a failing on my memory. Um, I did like the clever use of the powers to take out the mandroids, right? Scott and Banshee using different vibration frequencies to break one up. Storm and Sunfire using extreme temperatures to break up another. I thought that was, again, just a clever use of their powers that I feel like we don't really get too much these days in comics. So that was good fun. And in terms of Moses Magnum, who shows up at the end, I think he's a Luke Cage villain, right?
Oh, really?
Which that might also be why he's showing up here, since I think we're at the point where if we're not there yet, it's coming up where Iron Fist and Luke Cage are going to be thrown together in the same book. And I don't know if Claremont was writing that or not, but we know he was doing some Iron Fist stuff. So of course we have some crossover characters anyway, with Colleen Wing and Misty Knight in this issue too. So that's still happening.
Yeah, the team up book exists because in the end of the last issue of X Men, they reference Power Man Iron Fist 53 for when what's her name's leaving, Misty's leaving
Gotcha.
Jean at the airport. And then it was the volume before that I was referencing. So it's God Loves Man Kills, and it's the like issue 173 is where the wedding kind of gets called off and they're back in Japan. So
Mm.
there's a lot of great Wolverine stuff in the God Loves Man Kills because that's the volume that has the Wolverine miniseries in it, Wolverine 1 to 4.
Hmm.
Which isn't in the Wolverine Epic collections. It starts off with the Wolverine main series there. So anyway, fact checking Steve here.
Appreciate it. Let's see. I do have a no prize award I want to give for this issue. This is going to be the Tactical Dunce Award given to Cyclops. Of course, Cyclops usually is known for making good tactical plans, but he somehow thought revealing the X-Men's presence after they passed the trigger-happy guards would somehow be a safer thing. That's right, slip past them, then show yourselves, and the guys who really want to pull their trigger, I'm sure they'll be calm about that, right? So, anyway, weird decision there on Scott's part, but, whatever. It was fun. All right, so, any final thoughts?
No, I'm good. Looking forward to the next issue as they take on Moses Magnum.
Yep. All right, so again, if you guys have enjoyed our videos, follow us on YouTube, find our audio podcasts, like, subscribe, all that stuff that you hear about in every other podcast in the world. We're going to read, rate, and review full Epic collections every month. We're going to do these one-shots every day so long as the reading club continues. So, having said that, we'll see you again tomorrow.